Welcome to episode number 30 or 44 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube, as always, with my co-host Stefan Loeffler at Junkwax Twins, Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan at Our Trading Cards, and I'm Tim Shepler at Big Shep 79. We are podcast by collectors for collectors, and we hope to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time here on YouTube, 10 Central. You can always follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. We're available on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. Check us out there. Make sure you subscribe and review. What's up, fellas? How are we doing tonight?
Another nice warm day in Texas here.
Yeah. It was nice here today. It rained Monday, and then all of a sudden today was like 70 again. It was gorgeous. Hey, Alan, how are you doing tonight, bud?
I am good. Well, let's see. I swear, no matter what happens, year after year, if the San Antonio Spurs and the Oakland A's are playing on the same night, they lose. Spurs farted away a 19-point lead yesterday. A's got smashed by, guess who? Alex Bregman. Hit a grand slam.
Hey, there you go. And hey, you know what, though? At least they're not the Warriors blowing a 31-point lead, right?
Yeah. I was telling my wife as soon as she came home, I'm like, watch, both teams are going to lose. She goes, why? I said, because they're on at the same time. Every year. It just seems that way for like the last 4 years. And Alex Bregman can go suck one. I love watching that guy play, but I can't stand it at the same time.
Guys, what's a basketball?
Is
that a thing where you play off?
Yeah, it's round and you don't kick it with your feet like that other thing that Ivan tried to tell me was a football today.
Do you bounce it or?
You can. You sit on it. You can spin it on your finger.
So it sounds like a woman.
Ah. Why aren't you guys showing video? Is that because
I'm having some camera issues here? My camera fell over.
Are you afraid that Mike's going to turn you into?
Oh no, I hope he does. I and my wife really enjoyed the memes. She said she's famous now because her husband became an internet meme. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't take off, but we'll see.
Best day ever.
One for you. Yeah. Guys, well, we have some breaking news tonight. We have two breaking news items. The first is Steph. He opened up a box of Diamond Kings and pulled out a 101 Carl Erskine. And Mr. Erskine does a lot of TTM, so the question's been brought up. Do you send the 1-of-1 Diamond King card out to him to see if he'll autograph it for you?
I haven't yet, but I probably will.
That'd be a nice little ad, right? Kind of adds a little cool factor to already neat 1-of-1.
I think so.
Yeah, that's a lot of risk in that, though. What if it doesn't come back? Then you've literally just mailed off a 1-of-1.
Well, two things. One, apparently he's a really, really good signer. But two, it's not that. It's not like it's a dual relic Mickey Mantle or something that I'd be sending off. It's just a quote unquote base parallel.
Yeah, but it's still. Yeah, I mean, I would be hesitant because of what it is. Sure. And I might even throw some cards in the mail and see what his turnaround time is. And if those come back, then that would give me a little bit more confidence that, hey, maybe now I could send this one off. And on that one, I might send a little note in it that, But.
Well, I would try it. I said, what the hell, right?
Yeah. Hey,
no risk, no reward.
And I mean, this was the third box, the very last pack.
Well, I mean, Bean says do it. Ken Kinsley says do it. You do it. You just listen to him.
Hey, speaking of Ken, are you coming to the show next weekend? This weekend?
You better be there.
Next weekend.
Also, another breaking news it's about the cards. It's all about us tonight. We've actually started. Well, yeah, we've actually started a little web page, a little blog page.
Bloggy Doodle.
Yeah, Bloggy Doodle. We're doing some fun stuff there. It's up. It's live now. I'm pretty sure Steph's going to share the link with y'all. But
100%.
aboutthecards.wordpress.com. We didn't spring yet to just buy aboutthecards.com. We want to see how active we keep it before we make a full financial commitment. But what it's going to have is we're going to have some checklists up there. We're going to have new releases calendar. We're going to do some product reviews. We have all of the product that's released so far, 19s, all those checklists up there. Let's see. Steph's working on a product review of Diamond Kings. Ben has one completed of Gypsy Queen, and I just posted one today for Bowman. So check it out. There's also going to be some bios on us, and then some great blogs to follow. So if you have a great blog, what you want to do, send it to our way. We'll check it out. We'll post it there. I think we have 10 or so on there. We're also going to list Tops Living. We're going to have all of those up to date. So right now, that page is in progress, but it will be up soon. Guys, what do you think? Are you excited about this?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. We already have some of our friends on there, their blogs. We wanted to get a few of those listed. We've got Mike Summers, we got Kins on there, and Tanner, and
Ben Aguirre,
Nick Duante. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that last name correct, so I apologize, Nick. We had one or two others on there.
So hey, real quick, we did have a show Sunday with Bo of Million Cubs Project. So he has another handle, and it uses Bo Spencer. And I was like, okay, so I thought that was his name, and it's actually Bo Thompson, but Bo Spencer was his radio name. So he does go by both. So I want to make that correction tonight on the show. It's it's good for him. He said it's not a big deal because he still uses both those names and handles. And so anyway, but if you didn't check out our Sunday conversation, our collector spotlight with Bo of 1 Million Cubs, check it out. It was a good one. So, yeah, on the product reviews, we have 5 categories. We're going to kind of go over stuff showing here. We're going to talk about the card design, the checklist, the collectability. We're going to talk about our favorite parallel or insert set, autos or relics in the product, and then an overall. We've graded each one out of a 5, and then an overall score of the average. So Gypsy Queen comes in a 4.3 out of 5, and I believe that so did Bowman. But go in and check out our words. We have pictures of some of the cards as well. I know, Toby's Hobby Vault mentioned Ben's article on team collecting. That's up there as well. And that's going to be pretty fun. So we're gonna have those coming up. And let us know if there's something you want us to hear about too. We're gonna try to put some words to paper, words to internet paper, I guess, and share some more information with you that way. It'll also have our last podcast up there and our Twitter feed. So take a look and let us know what you think. We appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys.
The
week that was last week's release is Tops Living, week 57. We were right. It was a bad week. The cards were ugly, and the numbers were even worse. It was the 57th out of 57 weeks, the worst week ever. It was 181 short of week 52, which was basically the first week of this year. We sold over 8,400 cards. Corey Kluber, 2,800 and some change. He was 160. He ended up being 165. Nick Birdie, card 170, the rookie from the Pittsburgh Pirates, he sold 2 more cards. He was the leader. He sold 2 more cards than Kluber, so a rookie outsold a Cy Young winner. He was 164. Then Sin-Soo Choo sold 2,700 plus, and he was 170 out of 171. So Sin-Soo is the most popular, going to be up there, right? And I asked last week, are we going to hit 1 million? We did not. We fell 1,282 cards short of 1 million. So one more week to get us over the top. Guys, were you surprised at all with this?
No.
Well, last week, I mean.
I thought that they'd each average just under 3,000, like 2,800, 2,300, 2,900 rather. I'm surprised they didn't cross the 1 million threshold, but we know for a fact probably unless they don't issue them, that we'll hit 1 million next week.
Yep. Well, we already have it set out, and I know that at least 3 cards for next week I've purchased.
No, I was a little shocked that it came in just a bit lower than I had thought. 8,400 was a little lower. I thought 88 to 9. Kluber won a Cy Young. I almost bought him this morning, but Ryan Braun's the only one I bought day 7. And my thought is, with how I've chosen to collect this set, if my first instinct, if either I'm buying it day 1 or I'm not buying it at all. I think Garrett Hampson and Ryan Braun might have been the only two that I didn't buy day 1 that I went back and bought before the end of the 7-day window. But ultimately, we knew this week was going to be bad.
Yeah. Yep. I kind of like what happened this week. I think it's going to be interesting. I made a big prediction, so we'll talk about that. We also had 2019 Panini Donruss Diamond Kings popped out.
Yes.
Steph hit a couple boxes there.
18 on Friday.
18-19 Upper Deck Ice Hockey and 18 Panini Honors Football, which I heard was very, very allocated. So I haven't seen any of that open yet. So as we hop into hot off the presses, this week's release is Topps Living Week 58. Card 172, Evan Longoria, third baseman of the San Francisco Giants. He's the 5th Giant. It's West Coast week. Card 173, Fernando Tatis Jr., rookie superstar of the San Diego Padres, shortstop. He's the 7th Padre. Can't believe they have 7 Padres already. It's crazy. Card 174, Andrelton Simmons, shortstop from Los Angeles Angels, the 5th Angel. So I picked up 2 of the Tatis and the Longoria this week already. I said that Tatis would hit 30K because Acuna was like 45,000, and then Ben May was like, oh, and so I was like, well, let's do a bet. Let's, and it was just I even said it was a hot take. I'd make a bet with you right now on the air that says he hits over 22.5.
And I think you're on some special K.
Okay.
I will take that. And here's the bet. You had said $10 at our LCS.
Yeah, a little shopping.
I'll say this. How about whoever wins the bet? The loser has to buy them the 2 of the Topps Living of their choice moving forward, which equates to the same $10. Yeah. But it stays within the realm of the Topps Living set. So, and I'll take that. So the over-under will be 22.5, not 30K. And I do think you're still extremely high. I think that Tatis has a good chance of hitting 13 to 15. But even on that, I think ultimately he settles in the 11 to 13 range.
Okay, well. Hey, you know what? Like I learned from my boy Colin Cowherd, go big or go home.
As the past few weeks have indicated, I doubt he makes 10K.
Yeah, you could be right. I mean, I'm good with that because then I get 2 freebies.
Hey, I'll take you on that bet, Steph. I bet he hits over 10K. You want to go?
You still owe me 10.
How do I owe you 10?
From Kansas City losing twice.
Oh well, we'll make it 15 then. Oh, you want a double or nothing?
Sure.
All right, double or nothing. He hits over 9,000.
Was it the Topps Living stat Twitter account that said that you would actually buy 20,000 copies of this card just to win the $10 bet?
Mm-hmm.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, I think he knows me too well. Like that's weird.
That was the second tweet of the day I'd given out because I'd already given out one for
best tweet of the day.
Sportsology, talking David Wright, who's at Long Fly Ball, and made a comment. And Sportsology, they used to be affiliated with Cardboard Connection. He made a Canadian related tweet that if you're from Canada, we have to talk slower. And if you're going to make a well placed and well timed and well executed Canadian joke, you automatically get the tweet of the day,
Yeah. Also this week, we have a big release that came out this week. 2019 Bowman Baseball came out today. You have a Hobby and Jumbo. So Hobby was running about $135 a box, and Jumbo's over 300 now online. I saw a couple tweets from some buddies that live back in the Midwest, and one was in Michigan, and Jumbo's at their LCS were 275, and the Hobbies were about 115. At my LCS, it was 300 and 120. And I kind of found out some information. So I got some inside information before we get into what you can find on each box. The cost of a jumbo this year, wholesale, from a guy that buys a lot of products, he was paying $144 for a jumbo box. He said he looked back 3 years ago, he's paying around $75, $77 for a jumbo box. Hobby, he paid $91 a box this year. And back in 3 years ago, he was paying around $55. So the jump in just the wholesale costs of these products are reflecting out now that a jumbo's. I remember spending $300 and getting 2 jumbos 3 or 4 years ago.
And that's kind of my response.
Yes. By the way, since that meme has been made, the guy's been on a hitting streak, and I love it. Thank you.
The prices are ridiculous for what's actually inside of it compared to previous years. And I don't know that there's a super huge ultra mega prospect that's actually super mega okay that will make it worth a $300 lottery ticket.
Yeah. Last year, Ohtani helped push that, but the cards had value on the secondary market. You know, there's always been a guy. This year, we're going to get into this. I don't think there is. So real quick, a hobby box is going to get you 24 packs, 10 cards a pack, and an autograph. The jumbo is going to have 10 packs with 32 cards, and you're going to get 3 autos. The base set's 100 cards, which is down from the 150 with 10 parallels. The prospects, chrome and paper each are 150. The paper have 9 parallels. The chrome only have 19. Only 19. They have 89 Bowman buyback autos where they bought back those big, stupid 89 Bowmans, and they had guys from them back then sign. Dawson, McGuire, Griffey were a couple of the names. The prospect autos so far to be looking for, Joey Bart, Wander Franco, and this guy named Julio Rodriguez out of Seattle. Now, I've never heard of him, but he had cards already going for $300+ with bids today. And I was really amazed. And then there's the best part about it. There's Victor. What was that guy's name? Mesa. Yeah, and then his younger brother, Victor Mesa Jr., and they both are Marlins. And they're both in this product. Which was awesome, I thought. And then on top of that, I found out Wander Franco is actually the son of a Wander Franco and has a brother, Wander Franco, and has another brother named Wander Franco. And
like George Foreman naming all of his kids after himself.
Yep. You know, and there was a Wander Franco last year that played for the San Jose Giants. So
I real quick, I think I might have mentioned this before on the past show, but when I helped out at the LCS a couple years back, I ran some numbers based on things that I was seeing just within his shop and his shop alone. And from 2014 to 2016, on just the products that I ran, I've got the spreadsheet somewhere. It looked like most people that opened up the box were getting around 40% return on average. And these weren't on every box, and I think I just did it with Topps. I don't think I did any Panini Prism and stuff that was out at that time. But I just can't see the jump and that additional cost. The only way people are going to get returns is if people are just gobbling up every single prospect in the hopes that they're going to catch lightning in a bottle. That's the only way you're going to get your $300 bucks back. Yeah. Over and over on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and you're talking about when a jumbo box is 150 to say even 200 at a high point.
Yeah,
and
different economic model for sure. So now you're doubling it. So now you're asking for, you know, if you're at 100 and we'll just round up. We'll say 50% return, $150 a box. You're getting $75 of value on average. Now you're saying you're going to have to get $150 worth of value. Well, I don't know if it supports that. You're really trying to catch one of these guys, and if you don't get it,
you're done.
You know, I mean, $150, if you got 3 autos in a jumbo and they averaged $15, you've got a third of your money back just based on the 3 autos. And then if you got any color in there and the base, and you're completing a set.
Yeah, the return isn't always instant too, and sometimes you have to look back. Soto and Acuna were not big names. Ozzie Albies was not a big name when those sets popped. When they were in they had their first Bowman autos. Judge was not a big name. You know, he was a Yankees outfielder, yeah, so that gave him a little bit. But if you go back to when he was released, you could have picked those up all day for around $25, $30. And we're going to talk more about prospecting later in the show. But my thing is that, you know, at these prices, and I watched Mojo Break open for throughout most of my day at work today. I had it on the background, and they were opening cases after cases. They did not hit a Wander or a Joey Bart until almost 4 o'clock today. And they've been opening since 8. And they hit 1 Wander Franco auto. and I think Joe Staley pulled it. The offensive tackle the Niners was breaking with him today, and it was a gold one, so it was a really good one. But again, you're talking they opened umpteen cases before they got one. So
well, and what were the raise costing per spot? Do you know?
I don't. They didn't. If they said, I didn't hear. But I know that there was a 22 case break with Houdini. The guy spent $6,500 on for Wander Franco.
And I heard someone saying that through eight cases, they couldn't pull the quote unquote base Bryce Harper card number 3.
Yeah, because that's a short print. Because Joey Wendell's the actual card number 3.
Right.
Has any of the Harpers hit eBay yet? Do we know?
Let me look.
Yeah.
If you want to take a look while we're on air and see if any have hit.
It's just insane to me. I know Bowman's big, but I was in it back in the day, like 12, 13, 14, 15, even 16 at $150. But after that, I was like, there's no way I'm spending more than that on a box.
Sure.
You know what? It almost
pushing the limit.
It almost reminds me of being I used to do the some horse races here at a place called Cal Expo.
Were you a jockey?
Harness racing. No, I wasn't. I was actually the horse.
Oh.
More
I know
more
your
of a cow,
horse's ass.
maybe.
Yeah, look at these real quick. Look, short print Harpers in a Phillies uniform, $150.
I mean, these are listed, so
any sold?
Spot for it? No.
That'll be interesting.
It'll probably take a couple days to get some of that raw data, but no, I used to do the harness racing, and
so you're saying,
and I'm sure it's just
guide would probably be a good place to look for the pricing.
That's exactly. You look at the Beckett 2 months from now, when they release the July edition, and you'll have all of your up-to-date pricing.
Horses.
No, but the point I was making about harness racing is like right as the 2-minute kicker, all the horses are getting ready. You see all these guys running up, trying to make their last-minute bets, and they're not getting any of that money back. And to me, it just seems like that's what Bowman is it's just like everybody's just tossing money at these long shots, knowing damn well you're pissing money into the wind. And somebody I was talking to earlier on Twitter had said that he knows it was Bowman 1951 or Bowman 51 had mentioned that he had a friend that had already dropped $2,000 on Bowman autos. And I'm like, now is he just buying whoever and whatever, or is he actually buying, the Francos and the Barts? And he's like, no, it was all Francos. I'm like, well, at the very least, I guess he's going to a show this weekend, so he's looking to maybe get a 25% return.
And you probably could at a show, at least 10 or 15.
You might, but I mean, he's literally dropping $2,000 to try to get 2,500 back. And it's like, yeah, if you can, that's a good return, especially if it's an instant return. I mean, he better hope that he gets those cards in the mail by then. But unless he's going to try to pre-sell it. But I don't know if that's the best way to be spending money. Because
we're going to talk about that a little bit later at the prospect section, because there's some guys I want to review, and Franco's one of them. So before we get too deep, because it's a big giant conversation we're going to try to squeeze into a segment. We also have 2018 Panini Flawless Football. I think it was supposed to come out today. Got bumped to Friday. It's only $1,800 a box. 1 pack per box, 10 cards per pack. You're going to get 6 autos, 2 mem, and 2 gem cards. It's what they call a luxury level product. Low number cards where nothing has more than 20. Nothing's higher than 25. The gem cards, you have sapphires, diamonds, emeralds, a chocolate diamond, canary yellow diamonds, and platinums. And those are the 1-of-1s. This stuff is expensive. It's fun to watch to be opened. I will never. The only way I'll ever see it is if someone opens it and they throw one of the mem cards at the LCS. They throw one on the old shelf there.
Flawless is not that expensive. I've got some Flawless here. So I got a McGuire.
Well, I know, but I'm talking. No.
Couple.
If you're gonna break it though yourself, you're not spending $1,800 on a box.
No, in fact, I think our friend Tanner had a box, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what year, if it was baseball or football, probably baseball, but he was looking to either sell it or possibly even sell spots and open it up.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, it's like $1,700 a box or something like that.
We also have 1819 O-Pee-Chee Platinum Hockey. came out today, $82 a box, 20 packs per box, 4 cards per pack. You're going to get an auto, 6 retro cards, 1 net magnet, 4 rainbow parallels, a violet pixel parallel, and then 2 additional parallels. I heard someone today, and I was watching Mojo, and one of the guys in the chat said locally, he lives across the border, and he said that Platinum is taking over locally today. It wasn't Bowman. They didn't know what Bowman was. It was all about O-Pee-Chee Platinum. So it's a 200 card base set. They've added that chromium technology to the product, the mix of colorful parallels, and hopefully there's an on-card auto in your box. So it should be mostly on card. But I looked at some of these there, and they're pretty sharp. Again, this is going to be like Topps Chrome, if you think of that way. And for O-Pee-Chee and hockey up north.
Or Panini Optic.
Panini Optic, yep. Also this week, 2019 Sage hit high series. So we already talked about low series. This is going to run you $93, $94 a box, 20 packs per box, 6 cards per pack. You're going to get 12 autos, 20 base parallels, and 20 inserts. It's a 70 card base set, and it's going to start at 70 and go to 71 and go to 140. It's a continuation, like I said, of Series 1. And there's a lookout for bonus exchange cards. They're good for autographed jerseys and signed game-worn jerseys. So, again, more draft prospects as we have the draft next Thursday. I'm very excited. I will my buddies, I have some buddies in my fantasy league. We get together, and we have a little party watching the draft. And we do a little mock draft competition where we make our own. We pretend we're Mel Kiper, and we compare our mock drafts. And then we have a little point system, and then the winner actually, or the losers, end up buying the dinner that night. So it's pretty fun. Also, 2018 Leaf Metal Perfect Game All-American Baseball comes out Friday. 70
Word salad.
What's up?
Word salad.
Word salad, yes. $68 a box, 1 pack, 8 cards per pack, 8 autographs. So this is going to feature the best high school players in the country. It's limited to 109 cases, so that means there's only 1,635 boxes in total. So this is going to be guys that you're not going to, that won't be in Bowman probably, maybe next year or this year in draft.
Maybe draft, you're probably looking at 2021-ish.
Yeah. This is one you open it and you just put it in a box and come back to it 3 years from now. So lots. I mean, the Leaf does these right because they sponsor this Perfect Game, and that's why they can use these.
I believe so.
Yeah, so it's full images. There's no editing of blank jerseys or hats. So it's pretty cool. And I believe they're all on card autos. If I'm not mistaken. At least they have in the past. They've been a lot of hard signed autos. So for the super deep prospector, right? What's brewing next week's releases? We have 1819 Leaf Ultimate Hockey, 2019 Panini Contenders Draft Pick Football Hobby comes out, 2019 Panini Score Football, 1819 Panini National Treasures Basketball. So a lot next week. Some big ones coming out. Score Football is always fun.
Before you jump to the next category.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of a new release in that I haven't opened it yet. But let's see if my video cam cooperates. I got something in the mail today.
Oh, yeah?
That was mentioned on the show this weekend.
Oh.
Game nice. With Third Auto.
Is it a broken bat too?
Yeah, it snapped.
Nice.
Certificate from Mears. Nice little cracked handle right there.
That's awesome.
It seems like he had some trouble with the breaking ball because 3 of my 4 bats are snapped right here.
Well, that and he didn't last very long, so maybe he was the Pedro Serrano of his day.
6-7 years, yeah. I mean, not everybody can snap it over their knee.
6-7 years more than we all played to put together.
Exactly.
I'm also getting something in the mail this week that was mentioned on the show on Sunday. So I talked to old Bo, and I found out he still had a 78 SI George Brett poster that's never been out of the wrapping. It's still rolled up, and he had the original box with the originating shipping label on it. So he's shipping the poster in that box, and he covered with a printed out piece of paper over the shipping label my information. So when I get it, I can easily take that off and have the original box, the poster, and the poster came in 78. So I'm gonna get it framed. I'm gonna hang it up here behind me. So I'm very excited to add that to the George Brett collection.
Now I'm wondering, tying it into cards here, if that is not the same bat that is pictured in these. I can find where the share screen button is. Boopity.
Same model.
Same make, model, same-ish year. And if I'm not mistaken, there's another one. 81 Fleer.
So what you're suggesting is he had one bat for like 6 years?
Well, if that's from 81 and this bat's verified for 80, and I have another bat.
That picture's probably taken in 80.
Right.
Probably.
I'm not saying, but I'm saying here. Come on.
Hey,
there's a good chance.
It's
I
like,
mean,
like Fast and the Furious. Let's spin reality for a moment.
It's your bat, and that's what we're gonna let it be.
Yeah. It's like the fishing stories where it was like a 1-inch little tadpole, but when you tell the story, it was a huge whale. Yeah, those were card used.
Yes. As we move into infield chat, the infield's full tonight. We're playing the shift, and everybody's on one side, so quite a bit of hobby talk tonight. So I saw this tweet come across, and I don't remember who retweeted it out, but I found it who shared the tweet. I found it quite interesting. It's from at Miguel Vesser, and he sent out a tweet. Does anyone else have trouble focusing their PC like I do? I'm easily distracted from my PC, constantly wanting to get and keep player team cards regardless of whether on my list or not. Hashtag the collect, hashtag the hobby. So, one, does this happen to you guys?
It does.
Distracted off of your PC.
It does, in that I tend to over add things that are, somebody in the stands is wearing a Twin shirt, so obviously the game was at Target Field, so naturally I need that.
Okay.
But those are like sub collections for me, wherein I'm only collecting, similar to Ben, I'm only collecting my team, but if I see them in a dime box, nickel box, I'll set them aside and eventually get around to sorting them out. I'm not going to go out and search them down. So I guess yes and no.
I know, Ben, you're pretty focused, right?
Yeah, but it took me a couple years to get there. From 2010 to probably 2013-ish, it was really kind of, I was still trying to complete sets and insert sets, and it took me a while. We were talking right before the show. If I'm in a box at the local card shop, I might pick up a Harper or a Trout if it's a buck in the dollar box, but I'm not seeking it. Like Steph said, I'm not going on eBay. The only other thing I could say where my focus is kind of like, hey, that's a cool card, is when it comes to non-sports stuff, pre-war, like the 1952 Topps Look and See, some of like the old 1940s Gaudy and Bowman cards that are war related or steam engine related, stuff like that. Things that aren't necessarily. That's more just, it's cool, but I'm not on eBay daily searching for it. But usually it's going to take you a couple of years, in my estimation, because you're not necessarily sure
what you want to do.
What train station you want to settle at. Where are you going to get off permanently? And I know our friend Ken has more recently got into pre-war tobacco cards and stuff like that, and he and I have discussed a lot about that over the last few months. Shifting your PC is okay. as long as there's a direction to it. But ultimately, everybody's going to have to find their own. They're going to have to ask themselves a series of questions. Tim, were you over at at Greg's table at the card show last time when there was that kid that came up and asked Eric about what box was best for him? Were you standing there with us?
No.
He's like, which is best? And a couple people are like, oh, well, there's this and that. And I was like, no, you got to ask yourself some questions. What's your budget? What are you looking for this box to do for you? Are you looking for a hit? Therefore, Inception's pretty cool if it's in your price range. Are you looking for base cards and a complete set? Are you looking for prospect cards? You really have to ask yourself all of these. What do I want my PC to be? And it's going to adapt over time.
Well, yeah, when I hopped back in it, mine was kind of all over the place. And it was George Brett, and then it kind of became like the Royals. And then I kind of added the Giants a little bit, just being a local team. And as I started collecting some of the older Royal sets, I got really into the 70s tops. And so I was like, I already had quite a few of the 80s and 90s sets. So that became a focus. But my whole thing with this is that, like Ben, on the dollar box or whatever, and I see a stack of, Victor Robles rookies, right? Or Bregman or some of these guys and it's not just any rookie. It's going to have to be a flagship rookie, a chrome, for me to pick out of the box and say, yeah, worth adding to it. But what I got from this is if you can't stay focused on your PC and you're out collecting other things, then do you really even have a PC? Can you even call it it's your personal collection of cards, yes, but it's not a focus. You're just collecting baseball cards at that point.
There's not really a personal connection to the cards.
Yeah. And that was my whole thing behind it. It just kind of like, it like Ben said, it takes a few years, and it's one of those things like try a little of everything, kind of like buffet it. Have a little this, have a little this, but your second or third time, or in our case, the 8th, 9th time around, you know exactly what you want. You're going to go get those donuts and that ice cream.
Well, weren't we talking on a show, probably shows ago, about what you would sell your collection for? Like, is there a dollar amount? For us, I think that number would be considerably higher than somebody who falls into this realm, because you're not attached to it. We're attached to it because of the players on our teams, and because we're team collectors.
The color of the
it's different. Yeah, it's completely different than somebody who's just kind of like, I'm going to buy such and such card because I really like that card. It's a cool card, or I like this player right now.
I think it was Mike Summer that asked today, like, why should I care about Wander Franco when he's hitting for no power and hitting like 230? And my response back was, as I said, because we told you so. We told you to like him. And I think a lot of people get distracted by what they see and hear other people do. And it becomes that herd mentality where, oh, they're doing it, I need to do that. They collect that. You need to collect that. I need to collect it. Oh my God, that's the big. I need that. I need it. I need it. And it's
or worse, I saw him break this, and he got a number to 10 auto. Well, now I need to break it and get my 599.
Yeah,
auto. Case in point, Tim, you were saying you picked up some Acunas and a couple other players out of the dollar box.
Yeah,
and I said I will do that if it's Harper or Trout, because
Trout all day long.
I put some of that stuff together back in 2011, 2012, 2013. When I was still kind of finding my way, and I have some Jason Hayward stuff in that same binder because it was going to be like a prospect or at that time. And I've never pulled the Hayward stuff out, so it just sits there with the Trouts and the Harpers and stuff. But the point being was, you're like, oh, I'm going to go get I grab these Acunas, and what did I tell you? That's not me.
Yeah. And the reason I did that is it's an Acuna update rookie for $1. And if he ever does anything good, I can reach back in and go, cool, here, sell these for a few dollars a piece. All of a sudden now it's like I have more money to go spend on stuff I really want.
Right. A sub collection within, I bought my wife Stranger Things, the series 1, and we have Sons of Anarchy, and we have The Walking Dead, and we have other stuff too. It doesn't mean that it's a focus of the PC, and it doesn't mean that I'm not focused. I would say it's just something else to collect that we also have an interest in. I will say this, that I do think when you ask me personally, I think I have probably one of the most focused and niche PCs that I've seen when comparing to other people's choice for their personal collections. I think it's very, and I think you guys are right there with me. If not right at that same level, you're right underneath. Tim, mostly because you have Giants and Royals and Brett. But that's the thing is, this particular person either is going to find his way in the hobby, or it might be something that pushes him away from the hobby because he's not drawn to that.
Yeah, there's not something anchoring him down into it. So,
just like earlier, I said I'm not Bowman parallels, not doing it this year. And here I was right before the show asking you guys questions about a couple of parallels, because it sucks you in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't have that one.
Fucking Khalil Mack Contenders autos. So Panini was boasting this week they finally got his Contenders autos. He was the 5th pick, right, in the 2014 draft.
So is he 5th or 4th?
Whatever. He was the top 5 pick in 2014. 5 years later, late last week. This is from their blog. Late last week, more than 48 months of dogged determination finally paid off when Mack returned his autographed cards from 2014 Contenders Football, product that released in January of 2015. Panini America officials never once lost sight of the goal, which was to get those cards signed by Mack into the hands of collectors by just about any means necessary. Even after months turned into years and a new rookie classes entered the league, company officials kept at least one eye on the Mack situation, with agents, player reps, and the NFLPA to complete the Mack mission. And then there's a quote: "Some redemption situations are more challenging and more trying than others, and this is certainly one of those," says Elizabeth Galvez, Panini America Football's licensed acquisition manager. That's a word salad. "But we never stopped working to get these cards back. We owe that to collectors and customers. It's a mindset we take every day into redemption situations. Some just take on a higher degree of difficulty. We're thankful to check this one off the list." So my question is that I understand. So here's the Mack auto. It's awesome. The autograph looks great. The cards. So, I know that there was a problem with Julio Jones not signing from the 11 draft class, and I think he finally signed like 5 or 6 years later as well. Those autos popped a few years ago. But what if you were sitting on these and I've heard Panini cashing people out that had redemptions in there for a long time, like over 5 years. 4 or 5 years, getting just, hey, we looked at your account, we're never getting these cards. Here's some Panini points. Good luck. Or if you decided like, hey, I'm moving on because this guy's never signing it, or you lost the account, whatever. So think of all of those and like really 5 years. I mean, I don't know. It makes my head spin.
Yeah, it's definitely a horror story in the redemption front, and it's usually why I will try to avoid products that are heavy-handed in redemptions. Unlike Heritage or some of the similar products. But it's nice to see that they actually came in now that he's no longer with the Raiders, and now that he's playing with the Bears. Is he still playing with the Bears?
Yes.
Okay.
They gave him a lot of money, so he'll be there.
I thought so. But then more so with the recent controversy, at least these are hand signed and not auto pen signed.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Raiders fans. I sat on a Dave Stewart one for 4 years, and I know I'm probably nowhere near the longest. But I was going to get it because I bought it as a redemption to have the Dave Stewart, and finally it went live, and it's a great signature. He's got a beautiful auto, and it was a short, low numbered card. I think it was like out of 25. But it's unfortunate. I would be upset because I have been a lifelong Raiders fan, and if I was collecting football, I'm sure at some point I probably would have acquired one of those redemptions, and it would be frustrating now to receive that in the mail, considering how he left the team. The fact that he was willing to resign and Gruden just kicked his ass out the door and traded him. To get it now would be kind of a kick. But I'm glad that Panini wrote a very eloquent and in an attempt to be funny, with toot our own horn type press release.
Yeah, he was
I'm
a
sure,
fifth. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sure that smoothed over with collectors,
Oh,
that waited so long to get this auto.
Yeah, he was the 5th pick overall. If you look at that top 5, not super sexy, with Greg Robinson and Blake Bortles.
Hey, don't say that. What's his name? Might like the Blake Bortles picks. Ivan.
Yeah, so interesting there. No, I just thought it was I thought it was a big joke. So,
I mean, it's not April 1st, right?
no.
Yeah.
So,
just checking.
Yeah. Another interesting thing that was brought up about autographs is I think it's Manus Cards tweeted out. It looks like this is from a Facebook post or something.
Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, trash. But the question's interesting. There's a photo of a card, and so this is a photo example. If I ever peel an autograph sticker and send it back to the player to have it re-signed, and the auto would come on card. Now, you guys in the hobby, what's your outlook or opinion on this kind of thing? Are you considering it or not? Would people accept it, yes or not? I think yes or no. So that's not Manus posting that. He posted the screenshot of this guy's question. So it was who is that auto of?
It looks like Scribble Scroll, Troy Brown Jr.
Yeah. So first of all, I mean, a Wizards bench player, but they ripped off the auto, the sticker, and what do you think? I just think that's a dark, dirty rabbit hole to go down, and I would want zero part of that, nor would I ever try to do that.
There's a few things you'd have to address. One, any future sale, you'd have to address that, yes, this was a quote-unquote tampered card, in that it's an in-person and it's not, the authenticity on the back is now worthless because it's not signed in the purview of somebody representative from Panini, et cetera, as the back states, no longer. Two, I personally want to do it just because if I'm going to have this card in my collection, the Twins or otherwise, the sticker doesn't really bother me all that much. The redemption stickers even. I hate them in general, but if I get them, that's better than waiting 6 years for a Khalil Mack to show up. But that being said, it does leave a nice blank spot for them to sign. But it's kind of similar to the T206 that I saw earlier that at Card Grader, who works for Beckett, declined it. Pulling that up right now. Boop. Wherein it looks like a regular T206. However, upon closer inspection, someone obviously went through with a much lighter shade of green painting over it. I personally think you should leave the card alone as is, because otherwise you're just essentially tainting it for future purchases. But it is a unique and different take as far as what's acceptable.
Any thoughts, Benjamin?
I think Steph pretty much hit everything on the head. I think we all are on the same page on this one. I think most everyone will probably react the same way, that's a big no-no, especially if your intent is to resell it. Now, if you have a sticker auto, especially if maybe like a high-end product, like a tier 1 type thing, museum collection, and you go to meet the guy, let's say you're going to a private signing, whether it be at a card show or otherwise, and you want to peel the sticker off and have them sign it on card because you like the design of the card, and I'm good with that. Under the umbrella, the header, this is a private collection, personal collection item only, not leaving my collection. But then the idea behind that would be you can't find something else that's a non-certified auto, just a base card, and have them sign that instead. Now you have both.
To play devil's advocate, I could see one example where that would be desirable for the personal collection. If the auto came out smudged and cracked and creased.
Yeah. And again, if you are going to resell this, if this guy was to get this autographed by the player and he chooses to resell it, then it would have to have that disclosure that, hey, this was a certified sticker auto. I peeled the sticker off. I got it, in person. It's now an in-person, / through the mail autograph.
Here's photos of me getting it done.
Yeah, you're buying it under the premise. It's no different than a reprint, right? We've talked about that in the past.
Sure.
Hey, if you want to sell me a reprint, an aged reprint, I'm cool. I've bought them. I have them in my collection. But I bought them under the guise that it is nothing more than a reprint or an aged reprint or an ACO. And I know what I have, and that's cool because I collect cards.
Yeah.
And I like them. I have no problem as long as I know what it is. I saw a Tom Brady card this week, 1974 Topps, I think it was, Montreal Expos. And it's an ACO card. And everybody on Facebook was blowing up about this, that, and the other thing. It's like, hey, buy it, don't buy it, move on. Report it to eBay if you must. But just don't sell us a false bill of goods is all, I suppose.
Again, you proved your point there as on Facebook.
Hey, it's entertaining, dude. It is like Jerry Springer.
It's the stupid of the stupid. I want to move on to something fun and exciting. Steph shared this with us. There's a guy that has a Mike Trout PC shared on Blowout. His handle there was J Genius with a J. All told, there are 51 different licensed Mike Trout rookies, including the one of ones, and that include 4 out of 5s, 4 out of 10, 6 out of 25s, 5 out of 50s, 2 out of 60s, and so on. He has in this collection, he's got 2 of the printing plates of the 11 update. He has, I think, almost all the rainbow of update because he's got the cognac, the diamond, the Walmart, the Target, the gold, the black or gray bordered one, that blue sparkle diamond anniversary, and then he has one with the actual diamond in it. And then he's got almost, I think, the full rainbow of Bowman Chrome rookies, and then the Bowman Draft as well, and then Finest,
including the Super.
Yeah, and
looks like Bowman Sterling Super base too.
Yeah, this is a very impressive. Someone said in the thing this has to be like about $1 million worth of cards. I mean it.
Yeah, but didn't we feature a collection of a celebrity chef here that had put on Twitter?
Elliott.
So here's the way I look at it is, dude's not making $12 an hour working at McDonald's. Let's get clear.
No.
Yeah, he's not working a normal 9 to 5. He's obviously wealthy because it's costing you 5 figures at least for some of those cards.
Well, yeah, because most of those, I think almost all of his Trout's 10 updates were 10s, except for the one with the diamond and I think the black bordered one. The rest were all 10s.
I mean, obviously we don't know the guy, so we don't know what he's worth. But let's hypothetically say that the guy is worth $10 million. Do you think it's all that impressive that you have a really nice, highly graded 52 Mickey Mantle in your collection? Yeah, it's great, and I'm happy for you, and it's impressive, just like this guy's Trout collection. I mean, what's impressive about this is it's complete, not 100% complete, but he's got a lot of it all in one collection together. And yeah, it's probably worth well over $1 million if sold. But what was his associated cost in acquiring it?
That's the fun in it, because you got to think, because a lot of people you talk about hey, it costs X number of dollars to acquire this stuff. But if you think you go to Disneyland, right, and you spend the hundreds of dollars to get in there, and you get that experience and you get those feelings and all of that stuff, you're going to get the same chasing this down. It's not like you spent the same money on a steak dinner and you ate it once and that's the only, I can remember that steak dinner. That was a good one. Does that make sense? Hey, I can spend two, we can make it really relative. I can spend $2.50 or we'll say $5 and go to Starbucks and I can get a tasty hot beverage in the morning. Or I can take that $5 and I can go buy a Topps Living card and put it in my set and go back and look and see that Topps Living card over and over and over again, versus just getting one cup of coffee that one time.
The way I tell that to my wife all the time, because it's like I have a tangible asset that I can hold on to, that I can appreciate and enjoy. Once the coffee has been drank, it's gone. That's it. You're going to use the restroom. It's going to exit your body, and that's it. And then your blood sugar levels are going to go off the charts and all this other stuff, right? It's not good for us. You're just drinking sugar. But the way I look at something like this is, would you buy $100,000 car? Would you finance one? Most of us are going to say, no, that's beyond my means. But what if you make $300,000 a year? That's only 33% of your gross income. Now, most of us will go out and finance a $25,000 vehicle, which is much more palatable, but on a $50,000 income. Now, wait a minute, that's 50%. When we're comparing ratios, it doesn't match. So in other words, yeah, this is damn impressive that he was able to complete it, but he's in the $300,000 range buying a $100,000 car. We can't relate to this because the sheer difference. If we had that kind of money, we would be able to chase this too.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's worth and what his financial background is. It's kind of like that idiot Marlins fan guy, right? He's at every game. He's at every game because financially he can be. You know, if you were independently wealthy to where you could fly around and have a seat behind home plate at every playoff and World Series game of choice, wouldn't you?
I mean,
I think we would too. I mean,
it's definitely impressive, but I mean, it's not like, you know, one of us opening a single pack and hitting a 1-of-1, say last year Acuna or 2 years back Judge Superfractor. It's a whole lot easier to go out with a ton of money and say, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that.
Yeah. No, it's just,
I remember
it was just my whole thing with sharing it was just really cool to see them all together, and that one person spent the time to go and run these down no matter what they had to spend to do it.
Keyword, they were being
great,
spent
but
the time.
But, you know, there was a video I watched years ago of Michael Jackson, and he was spending money, and he's walking through like this place in LA that has, you know, thousands of, you know, all this art, and he's just like pointing, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. It's like, must be nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a fantastic collection, but the sheer cost of it. I mean, if this was a low end, no name player, let's say this was a Garrett Hampson collection, right, Tim?
Yeah,
where the associated cost is not, by comparative analysis, it's not nearly, you know, you're paying 2% of what this guy paid for all these even the low numbered cards. It's impressive, but cost is all relative to your bank. It's a lot different when you have that money. You can go out there and you can literally ask people, hey, you know, find me, you know, this refractor out of 25. I need one in a 10, and have all your little minions go out there and do the legwork for you and bring you one. It's not nearly as fun.
No, but it's cool to look at. So, speaking of blowing all of your money, Topps released this past week. Topps Total's coming back. It's going to be an online only product via Topps.com, and Topps Total will have a 900 card base set. Every franchise will be well represented, we're told, with relievers, utility players, other guys that don't get a lot of cards, and, of course, the stars. The 900 card checklist is broken down into 9 waves. One wave will be available on the website for a 3-week time period. And then every third Friday, one wave closes and another's released. They come in 10 card packs. They are $10 a pack, so basically $1 a card. And the print runs, well, they will be revealed after the sales window expires. They also have, I think, like 3 parallels?
Out of 10, out of 5, and 1. So each card will have a total of 16 parallels before they've ever printed a great base card.
Yep. And so there's been a lot of debate, and I want to tie this all in. And so last week we talked a little bit about Ryan and Colin, their podcast on Sports Card Radio, and they were one of the big things that was they talked about. I like to tie in is if someone's running away from a stock or running away from an investment, say it could be a stock, it could be land, it could be a baseball card, it could be whatever you want to acquire with your money, put money in to make more money, and they're running away. There's probably a really good opportunity for you to run in and invest some and make your money. And it was brought up that Topps Total could be this because everyone was kind of bagging on it. And yeah, Steph. And so this might be a good opportunity to get in early and to get some of this stuff and wait and see what happens. The first couple of waves, at least. Like if you look at Topps Living, right? Those first few weeks, those first 6 cards are some of the hardest cards to buy and the most expensive on the market. So I want to know your thoughts, one, on the set. One, do you think it's worth investing into? And Steph is right. He called it right after it was announced that it was going to be an online print order like Topps Now, Topps Living, etc.
It was one of those bathroom strokes of genius where, you know, you're sitting wasting your time and it just kind of hits you. I'm like, wait, they're totally gonna. So and that's why I had the other picture up. New set, who dis? Because they completely destroyed what Topps Total was just to bring it back and dump it online as a here's 10 cards for $10.
For us that don't know, what was Topps Total?
So it's kind of like what base set would be if you had like 6 series, kind of, wherein you have everybody, and Upper Deck kind of had a similar line where they called it Upper Deck 40-man, where they tried to cover all 40 people on the 40-man roster of each 30 teams. But they would feature, you know, not just Mike Trout, but they would also feature the third string catcher or the backup shortstop or the relief pitchers that don't get a lot of love outside of Pat Neshek and the other guy that I can't think of right now. The other fellow collector.
Brett Ziegler.
Ziegler, thank you. You know, outside of those guys, them actually getting cards as well. So you'd have your stars, yes, and that's kind of why it's going to be a 900 card set, because if you've seen the checklist, some of the names are a lot of who the fuck's that? Until you actually look it up, and I was like, oh, well, that's the Angels' second utility infielder backbench that you might not see until they play in the National League and they have to swap out pitchers. And to do it as an online exclusive, just searching it on Google kind of tells you what everyone thinks.
Yeah, no. So Ben, I think you said you purchased the at least the first wave of the A's cards, right?
Yeah, I think the first 24 hours of this, we were all excited. I've been preaching for years. I don't know how many times a dozen times over the last couple of years saying I wish they'd bring back Topps Total because it was such a fun set. Somebody mentioned the other day, cool, we get the backup this guy, the backup that guy, can't wait. And I'm like, man, I don't even want that. I want the ticket takers and the equipment manager and the
Sure.
beer vendors. I mean, that's how deep this set feels as a collector. You finally get some love for, you know, the 3 A's that they selected were Stephen Piscotty, but Josh Fagley, who doesn't get a whole lot of love because he's been a backup catcher, and Yasmero Petit. Those are the first 3 A's on the 100-card checklist.
Oh, giant Yasmero Petit.
And man, I was so many of us were jazzed for like the first 24 hours, and I think all of us collectively. It's almost like Independence Day when like the aliens are hanging over the sky and they're all like, "Oh, look at that! That's so neat!" And then everybody realized, "Hey, wait a minute, are we sure these people are friendly?" Like we all got this wave of, "Wait a minute, they're gonna screw it up. Just how are they gonna screw it up?" And you're taking such a low end. I should be able to buy 2 boxes of this for $50 total and complete a 900 card base set. And maybe I get an autograph. Maybe it's like opening day on steroids because of the deeper checklist.
That's actually what I was thinking opening day, yeah.
And I was actually talking to Once a Cub privately, and we were kind of going back and forth on certain things and like the numbers behind it. And I had mentioned to him, I had talked to my dad the other day, and I was just like, man, I can't believe that they did this to this set. It looks like Topps Attacks from 2011. It looks cheap. It looks like a deck of playing cards. The design is very Dollar Tree generic. And I'm like, and they're charging us $1 a card. So it's $900 when all is said and done to complete a set. But wait, it's not, because each card's going to have 16 parallels. So
and good luck actually getting the different packs to fill out the.
Yeah, it's $900 for 900 cards, if you got one different card in each pack. Factor in the parallels, and now you're talking about needing maybe 1,500 packs to complete your, or 1,500 cards in order to complete a 900 card set. And I was talking to my dad, and he's like, "But you're a team collector, right? First and foremost, we talked about PCs just a second ago. How do you identify? I like team sets, base team sets followed by parallel team sets before we get to anything else." And he goes, "Isn't this the set that you would want when all is said and done? An online exclusive, Tops Now style set." And I'm like, "God, all right, cool." Dad, I just called him earlier today. I'm like, "You cost me $10, dude, because I bought the 3-card team set for $10, which is an average of 333 a card, which puts the team set around $120." And our friend Mark Hoyle asked, he goes, "Do you think there are going to be team sets available after the fact, 6 months from now when this set has all been released?" And I was like, "I don't think so. There might be, but who's your market?" Because as the three of us are all team set collectors, either we're going to get in now or we're not going to get in at all, right?
Right.
So therefore, 6 months from now, if Twins Jake were to put together a team set and throw it up there, I'm your market, but I'm not a buyer anymore because I've already collected it. Or due to his investment, it's going to be such an astronomical price that, I mean, you can't tell me that this is a $900 set when all is said and done. Are you kidding me?
And I mean, it shouldn't be. I mean, Tim, I come to you when I have questions about, hey, who's this guy actually play for when a checklist comes out?
Yeah.
Who does, let's see, eeny, meeny, miny, German Marquez play for?
Rockies.
Okay, Tyler
I think he's on our
Thornburg.
fantasy team too.
Okay, I mean, that's kind of cheating.
No,
Tyler Thornburg.
He's a Padre, isn't he?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not getting your Mike Trouts, your
Ben Gamble, what? He's a Mariner.
Trevor Mays, your Neil
Gamble's a
Walkers,
Brewer.
your. What about
I don't know who
Daniel
Hanser
Stumpf?
Alberto is, but that's just a cool name.
Who's that?
Well,
Hanser Alberto, card number 33.
first off, if you look at the checklist on Beckett, our buddy Ryan, and I tweeted this out. I'm like, I love when Ryan does my homework for me.
Sure.
I hadn't had an opportunity to come home yet. I actually saw the checklist first at work. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go home. I'm going to take a look at the 100 cards, and I'm going to determine which ones are A's. But our buddy Ryan, boom, did our homework. I knew that there were 3 guys, which 3 guys it was. So he's definitely going to be a good resource for anybody who's trying to collect.
He's about the second fastest person I know that can tear apart a checklist.
Yeah,
not to toot my own horn, but
it's a great team set checklist for people. Thornburg's a Red Sox. I apologize, not a Padre. But it's good so you can see where your level of investment will be if you're just looking for certain players. If you're unsure of what your 40-man roster looks like and which players they ultimately decide on, he'll definitely be a good resource through this set, which is going to be released in 9 waves, 100 cards apiece, over the course of, I think, every 3 weeks, a new set. That's how I kind of justified it too. If it's going to cost me $10 to $15 for the cards, they're releasing them every 3 weeks. So I'm not necessarily going to even have to spend that within a calendar month. You know what I mean? I could theoretically wait close to 6 weeks before I have got to buy wave 2. So,
no, I don't know. I think it's
one interesting thing that once a Cub brought up the math of it. He asked me, he goes, are they going to release these to order, or is there like a certain amount? In other words, there's a 21-day ticker. Is it going to close early because they've sold out? Let's say there's only 2,500 each of these. Because if it's print to order, are they all going to have the exact same print run? Because you would almost have to think if you're buying it by packs, the math will not work out. If you're talking about the fact that each card has to have 16 parallels as well, what's ultimately going to happen is you may have a card, let's say, that has 100, and then another guy may only have 98. It would not be consistent. The only way for there to be a consistent print run would be for them to sell them equally, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to have somebody that hops in there and buys a couple of packs and not 10 at a time, and it's going to throw off the numerical division, and it's going to be an imbalance. And I didn't think about that till he had brought it up, and I'm like, that's a damn good point. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with this. I think the only way this works is if it's a limited print run, 2,500 of each card, period.
I was just thinking of something I meant to bring up on this set. I think the thing that would ease a lot of people's hatred for the set so far, not that there aren't some people that like the idea of the set, would be if they were to release it as here's 100 cards plus maybe a parallel or two, maybe a chance at an auto. That way you actually get the full run, and that way you'd know that this is one of 311, not one of, well, this one's 287, but this one's 365, but this one's 10,000 because we overprinted this one.
Yeah. I think that with the online release, I think what they should have done is sold these like Top Sapphire, which they had done up until last year, selling it as a complete set. You want to buy this, you buy all 100.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, you buy it at $50 a pop, and then you have people like Twins Jake that go out and buy 10 sets and break them up into team sets, or sell them as a complete set. Hold on to one or two until after the wave. By wave 4, people are going to go back and go, man, I should have bought this, but I didn't even know about it. But then once a Cub also brought up something, and he's like, hey, what about, how many cards can print on a sheet? And I'm like, no, I'm not your guy there. I said, you go over and talk to Vosbrink on that one, and I'm sure he'll geek out on how it can print out in order for it to be, feasible from the printing side of things, because he's definitely an expert in that field that I'm not. But it'd be interesting to see kind of how this works. I ultimately think that what's going to happen is we're not going to know it, but not all cards are going to be equal.
Yeah, no, it's going to be frustrating. I'm not excited, but we'll see. It's one of those to watch. We'll keep an eye on it. I want to hop into the prospecting thing. We're going to end up the show with tonight. We brought it up earlier. So
release week.
Yeah. And there, like Steph said in the chat, Bowman line is so fractured, gives them migraines. And you're right there, Steph. It does, because one, you have the Bowman, and then we talked about this at the end of last year with Bowman Draft coming out, and you have Bowman, then you have Bowman Chrome and Bowman Draft. Now, I understand the need for Bowman and Bowman Draft, right? But the designs are so similar. I think that they should have a slightly different look to them each year, just so you're able to tell the difference between Draft and Bowman. And what's hard is that you have Bowman Chrome cards in Bowman, and you also have a Bowman Chrome set, and then you have Bowman Chrome draft cards.
And Bowman Chrome prospects and Bowman Chrome prospect autos. But then some years they also continue the Bowman Chrome prospects into Bowman Chrome, so that after card number 91 at 90, it continues 91 through 120 in Bowman Chrome, and then Bowman Draft picks it up and goes from 120 to 150.
But it's never been consistent, and it's just frustrating. So, but again, it's one of those things that we deal with because everybody loves Chrome and everybody loves the prospect. And a big part goes back to here. We had this week, 2014 Bowman Chrome Matt Chapman Superfractor Auto sold for $11,900 with, 44 bids. Now, Ben, when is this getting delivered?
Yeah. Okay.
And they did make you pay $15 shipping on it, which is just kind of mean.
They did, but I'm going to do a charge.
Real quick, the seller only had 22 feedback.
I'm going to do a charge back against $11 when I get it, just for the over.
But real quick, you're going to give it $12,000 to a 22-star feedback guy. Okay.
So our friend Chef Chris had a little history on the card. He brought it to my attention when it was at auction, and I was like, "Yeah, good luck, brother. Appreciate you buying that. I'll come visit it." It apparently sold for $750 back in 2014. and then it got graded and sold again last year for $5,700, and now it's sold for $12,000. So it's appreciated in less than a year. It doubled in price. And
has he even been an all-star?
No, he wasn't, but he won the platinum glove. I mean
things that I would love that Beckett would institute, wherein if you have a PSA graded card, if you take the little serial code on it, you can actually see when and how often it's sold. The history, what sale prices that individual serial number is.
The biggest issue with this Matt Chapman Super, and I know we're going to get into it in this segment here over the next few minutes, is how much meat is really left on the bone, and how much can this appreciate over the next few years, assuming that his trajectory continues to go up. He's a defensive stud. He could be a Hall of Famer with another 12 years if it was just a defensive wing, right? I mean, the kid is just amazing. But it's like, okay, if we go back to the Mike Trout guy, if I was a multimillionaire and I had the money, I'd have dropped this money all day long. But it's done. It's in my private collection. It's a PC item for life, and there we go.
But I think it's just a crazy amount for a guy that's not been an all-star. And we're going to get to the point where my whole thing behind this is that everybody wants to find the next Mike Trout, right? And that's why these prospect cards and even like current day up and coming stars, and you could put Chapman in that realm, right? Up and coming player. They think, oh my God, this is the guy I need to hop into, because guess what? I'm gonna have a $499,000 card in 5 or 6 years.
Right.
Now you have to think you're comparing him, any player, to Mike Trout. And we talked about this a little bit this week before the show. So you have Mike Trout. Now think back of another player that dominated the hobby like Mike Trout does, where he's got a handful of different cards that command way more than the others. The only other guy I could think of right off the bat was Mickey Mantle.
The other guy we talked about the other night on the phone, with asterisks, was Ken Griffey Jr.
Sure.
Because of the upper deck. But the point I had made to Tim on the phone was, I said his 89 upper deck was almost like the 52 tops Andy Pafka, where it had other variables at play. I think the number one card for the first upper deck release ever was going to be a special card regardless. It just so happened that it was a future Hall of Famer and not a no-name player, Andy Pafka.
First Hall of Famer that was the number one pick overall, son of a really good major leaguer, one of the most personable guys in the hobby. I mean, he had the hat backwards, all of that fun stuff, the swing, the defense, the highlight plays. It couldn't have worked out, the perfect storm of Griffey. But the rest of his cards, for the most part, a good majority of his cards are $1,
$2 cards at that time. Yes. I mean, the 89 Donruss, the 1990 tops, 89 tops traded. I mean,
they're a couple bucks.
He didn't have, and granted, he fell into the wrong era, unlike Mantle and I mean, we don't know what Trout's going to be. We don't.
But what I'm saying is, though, you got to look, though. It's Mantle and Trout, right? If you think about it, those guys sit up there, and then it's kind of like everybody else. Even Aaron and Mays don't. They're not. They're in that next tier below. And so what I'm saying is there's not going to be another Mike Trout, guys. There's not. 30 years from now, there might be. There's not going to be one in the next 10 years. He's a once in a 3-time decade player. He's alive right now. He's playing right now.
There was
Corner. Any of these guys Nolan Gorman, any of these guys we named tonight, Wander Franco.
You might not hear their name in 5 years.
Yes, they are not going to be Mike Trout. I am sorry. Spend all the money you want. That's fine. It's your money. Do what you want. You are not going to get Mike Trout prices for these guys. It's not going to happen.
It's very rare in baseball to compare the talents, and you might have several Hall of Famers playing at the same time, but to have a no doubt one-of-one true generational talent You're going to take every one every 20, 30 years.
Yes.
Do you remember
that guy?
Do you remember the episode of Boy Meets World where Corey becomes the teacher for a couple of days to prove a point to Mr. Feeney?
Sure.
And Feeney's like, hey, if everybody scores better when you're the teacher, then you can have my salary for a day or a week or whatever it was. And Corey bet his bike against it. And when he's all excited about it, he tells his dad's like, now wait a minute, is Feeney going to take the test too? And Corey's like, yeah, because he's me, right? He's a student. And Alan looks at him and goes, man, you're dumb. You just lost your bike. Because he's going to set that bar so high, the curve is going to adjust accordingly. And if more people even come in at average, the disparity between the two is going to be so basically, you're going to end up with a negative equity, so to speak. And the illustration is so poignant. No matter who we buy right now, no matter who it is, if we're comparing it to Trout is Feeney taking that test, to use that analogy. You can't compare it to this person that is so great by comparison.
He sits on his own shelf, and everybody else is on the basement floor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any analogy we use is absolutely going to be on point.
And Rob Sports Cards here, good name, by the way. It says, I think everyone compares Trout's update to all Topps update. Trout definitely set the bar for Topps update series. Yeah, I mean, and the reason why all the updates rookies that are in there have an inherent value built into them because there's not a factory set made.
Sure.
Where you can go out and you can buy the factory set and guarantee yourself that rookie card. So that helps a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit. And the fact is, it's a lot of late call-ups. And we're going to go off on a tangent here for a second as I bring this up. But it's those late September call-ups that come up and they get that little taste, and then the real rookie is the next year, right?
The cup of coffee, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to lose that next year as they don't go have the 40-man expanded rosters. So what's going to happen to update? Goddamn, that's a whole nother story as we get into this. But real quick, a couple guys I want to point out that people have been just sucking on and just okay. Nico Horner, Superfractor. He was the 2018 first-round pick of the Cubs, the 24th pick overall out of Stanford. He's a shortstop. He's 21 years old. Last year, he was on the DL for a good part of the year, but he played in only 14 games. He hit 327 with 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. He had a slash line of 450, 571, and 1021. He had 6 stolen bases and 4 Ks. Right? His Superfractor sold with 55 bids for $10,600.
I think you got the wrong link there.
Sorry. Oh no, it's up there at the top. $10,700. They said they found something similar because it closed. By the way, they used this same photo in Bowman. So this is from Bowman Draft. They used the same photo in 19 Bowman. So, by the way, which is lame. You have Nolan Gorman. We've talked about him on the show. An orange refractor out of 25 from last year's Bowman Chrome draft. He was the first-round pick of the Cardinals, 19th overall out of high school. He's 18 years old. Plays third base. Last year in 58 games, he hit 291 with 17 home runs, 44 RBIs, slash line of 380, 570, and 949. 1 stolen base, 76 strikeouts. He had a 9.510 that just the orange refractor sold for $5,000.
And there's one currently with 10 watchers for $7,000.
Yeah. Wander Franco, listed Tuesday as a buy it now at $450. I believe that one's sold. There's a couple others with bids right now at $450. 20 years old outfielder. Last year in 2018 played 94 games. Hit 231 with that's the wrong information. Shoot, that is for a different guy. But he hit like 300 last year with like 11 home runs and a handful of RBIs. And we're supposed to be all over this guy. And he's got auto right now for base autos going for $400 and $500 currently. Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners was in the draft in Bowman release today. He was a 16-year-old free agent, 17, so he's 18 years old now. He's an outfielder. He hit 315 last year with 5 home runs, and he's got base autos going for over $200 right now, and parallels over $400 with bids. to me, these guys, like, people are just dumping money into these guys, and I get it. You know, if you pull it, hey, I'd put it on there and flip it. But you're not gonna find Nolan Gorman's not the next Mike Trout. You're not gonna you're not gonna see that $5,000 maybe could turn into 75 or 8,000 maybe.
But
right?
how long are you going to have to sit on it though?
Mm-hmm. And this Nico Horner, first of all, he's a college player at 21. So his window to come up and really pop is in the next 2 or 3 years. He plays shortstop. The Cubs are have a pretty good team, and they're still pretty young. I don't think they're going to lose all of the guys at the same time. So he's really going to have to come up, but he missed most of last year because of an injury. And yet he's going to sell for $11,000.
Well, the way I look at it is
I mean,
let's say
his super sold for $1,000 less than the Chapman super. We know Chapman's at least played the major leagues and won a platinum glove, and we can see the star's going to rise because he actually made it to the majors.
No, absolutely. Now look, we kind of look at it like an IPO that goes to market at $10 a pop, right? And it shoots up to 40. Let's call this IPO Mike Trout. Sits at 40 for a while, and then all of a sudden it skyrockets to $500. So everybody that got in at $10 is just happy as all get out, right? Even the people that got in at $40. So now every IPO that comes out in the same industry thereafter, people are looking at it when it jumps to $40, like, let me go ahead and spend $100, but it's only valued at 40. But I'm spending 100, but I'm telling you it's only worth 40. But someday my 100 might be 500. Yeah, it might be, but for every one of the IPOs that did that Mike Trout IPO that we just referenced, you're going to have a lot that are going to end up in the $1 to $2 to $3 range. And now you're going to take it because you just spent $100 per share. And that's really what this looks like. Is right now everybody's just going to end up selling for stupid prices because, well, that's just the way it goes.
Well, and the other thing too is Judge. So you go back to 17, or it was the 13 draft, I think Judge was in, and all day long you could have his Bowman Chrome base autos for $20 to $50 back in the day. Even in the spring of 17, as the Yankees were breaking camp, you could get those for $125. Somebody was looking to buy mine. I said I wanted $150. They said $100, and I said no. Like 2 months later, I sold the card for an almost $900. You're not going to see these guys every day. Even that, like Judge, like he's not going to see Mike Trout numbers, and he's Aaron Judge, and everybody in the hobby loves Judge, and it's all rise, and he's not going to hit Mike Trout numbers. Yet all of a sudden now these other guys are, and they're going to be better than the Judge. They're going to be as good as Trout. I don't like that. That air is very thin up there, and there's not a lot of room.
You're talking about Mount Rushmore type players.
Mike
Trout's done. He might be pushing for a top 4 of all time. Now we're not talking about like iconic names like transcendent names like Jackie Robinson,
but
who might not be a top 4 player of all time player wise, and we know his career got impeded because of the racial barrier. But transcendent wise, he's definitely top 4 as far as Robinson goes. Now, as far as overall talent, yeah, Trout might be right there on that very, very short list.
Mace Mantle.
Yeah, Ruth, Gehrig. I mean,
if he could have stayed healthy.
It's a small, no, not Bonds. But I appreciate you wanting to talk about economic stuff. Stocks, bonds. I get it. But it's just it. I was talking earlier. I wrote that review for our new website on Gypsy Queen, and Gypsy Queen is very pretty. It's a very nice cardstock.
About the cards.wordpress.com.
Exactly.
It's in chat.
It's a really, really nice product to collect. Bowman is butt. It's hideous. It's year in, year out. It's one of my least favorite products. There's nothing to it. So I mentioned this a couple of times on Twitter, but also on Facebook today. I was like, do you know what Bowman is? It's what it is. We know exactly what it is, so let's call it what it is. It's just a cheap-ass prospecting product. You're not in it for anything but that auto, and it's nothing more than a stock. It's
So,
the modern day stock.
I have both cards in hand. So I have some Gypsy Queen here. I have a Victor Robles, and then I have a Nicholas Castellanos from Bowman. So the stock on this is almost a heritage style stock. It's a little thick, little cardboardish. This stuff right here is so thin. Like this is like Vistacard 500 business cards for $10 stock. It's the cheapest, thinnest stock they could buy. Like legitimately, I have an opening day card that the stock is better than.
Right.
That's why
this is a product everybody's dying over, and people are laughing at opening day, but the opening day stock is better than what they print Bowman on.
That's why let's call it what it is. When people are like, "Oh, I love Bowman," no, you don't love Bowman. You love the idea of Bowman. You're trying to get rich quick. That's all this is. Let's call it what it is, because that stock's not very much thicker than a lottery ticket. That's all this is. You don't love Bowman. You love the idea behind it because you're trying to get rich. And if you're lucky enough to hit that Gorman, that red refractor, cool. Good for you, because you just turned your couple $1,000 investment into a lot more than that. But without getting into Gary V's Rich Eisen spot, for people out there that are looking to get in here and flip cards, understand that for everybody that hits one of these, so many people are very disappointed in what they got today. So many. If you're in this just to take your money and try to multiply it, stick it in a CD, stick it in some kind of your 401k, stick it anywhere. Find somebody that offers compound interest over time, and let your money ride. If you're looking to get rich, you'll be much more happy in the long run. And instead, you're going to get stuck with a Nick Allen rookie paper auto. And a whole stack of Bowman paper that you don't even want.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite thing to do is in a couple of days from now, I'm going to go on and I'm going to look for Bowman, 2019 Bowman complete sets of the prospects paper and chrome, and be able to pick them up for a song because somebody lost their ass chasing opening case after case trying to get friend Wander Franco, and now the credit card bills due, and they have to sell these singles, they have to sell these sets to pay off because the hits they got didn't hit anything to pay off that bill, because they thought, hey, I can spend $15,000 on cases and hit 2 or 3 cards and I'm good to go, and it's just not happening. Like the guy we talked about that had all those Bowman cards, all those graded cards that kept getting damaged, David. I saw him tweet out he had a SUV full of cases of Bowman. Good luck, bud. Hey, that looks like fun, and I'd love to be there to help you open it and sort it out and spend some time taking a look at the cards, but only on your dollar would I do that. So
I got a funny story after Steph says something.
For what it's worth, I'm pretty sure we're starting to see them already hit the website. Not that eBay and or several other places aren't a decent place to pick up cards, but you should start to see them on the website soon.
And he's talking about cards. Yeah.
And no, we did not say pay off a hit.
Real quick, this is what Bowman feels like to me. Years ago, I took my brother to see Blues Traveler at a local casino. And while we're waiting for the concert to start, I gave him a $10 bill. He had just turned 21. And so, gambling is not our thing. Nobody in our family really gambles. But I handed him a $10 bill. I said, hey, throw it in that slot machine. So he tucks it in there. He pulls a slot once or twice, and he lost his money. And he goes, now what? I said, now we go find something else to do. He goes, wait a minute, that's it? And I'm like, that's it, dude? You just lost $10. He goes, just like that. Now multiply that by hundreds and thousands. Yeah, you're going to have fun for a moment in time. Opening up a case of Bowman would probably be fun because you're anticipating that Christmas morning hit of any number of top prospects. But odds are you're probably going to get a bunch of coal and worthless wrapping paper at the end of the day.
Put another way, it's kind of like going to the strip club expecting to come home with a girl, and you end up with some stuff you need to go see a doctor about later.
Either that, or
Sure, you might actually bring the girl home, but you're talking 1 in a million chance that you don't need to see the doctor.
either that, or you see your cousin roll out there, and you're like, "Well, this is awkward." It's
Ben. We don't want to hear those stories.
Hey.
And like I told you, we talked about it, and I locked up, and I'm going to be purchasing my first case here this summer. Case of Series 2 tops. Figured, you know what? Made some sales, put some money aside, and why not? And I worked out with the guy who runs my LCS, and so hey, like talked to him today, and he's like, yeah, I can do it for this price, and I think it's a good value. I'll hop in and see what I can do, and hey, if I lose $50 or $100, I would have done that anyway, opening at least one box of jumbo, which I'm going to do. But we'll see what happens. But I'm not talking about where this case is thousands of dollars, a few $100. But no, it's just interesting that these guys think that Juan Pablo Martinez or Kyle Wright or Suli Matisse of the Royals or Nolan Gorman or Julio Rodriguez or all these Wander Franco are going to be Mike Trout.
Suli Matisse.
I can list a number of prospects that have come through that have done okay, but back in the day they were hot stuff. Steven Strasburg comes to mind.
Jim Popple.
Van Poppel. Kerry Wood. Mark Pryor.
I still don't think we've ever done our cash to trash segment that we put off forever. No,
that's coming up this summer.
It's unfortunate if we reference back to an earlier segment that we had about the guy who didn't have a PC focus. We've got to a point where we've established what direction we want our personal collections to go. And it's unfortunate. What if you're a Rays fan, man, and you want to get the Wander Franco auto because you're a fan of the team? You're paying stupid prices because you're doing it inside a casino.
Well, even a few
I
years
still don't have a Buxton auto from, is that what, 13?
He's a perfect example, right? He was the number one prospect, 2 years in a row for baseball?
I think so.
Comes up and can't even hit his weight.
I should have gave you mine. I ended up pulling one out of that product. It was the last one on the LCS. I was like, let me grab that box. That's back when I had bought boxes. And
but the guy hits 195. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, he can't just wait. Another guy. So you're talking about teams, right? So it was a Royals collector. I got back in. It was after the 11 draft, and they had this superstar draft pick, Bubba Starling, high school phenom, was going to go to Nebraska and play quarterback. He's like 17 feet tall. He can throw a mile long. Basically, he's Superman. He just doesn't wear the cape. And he gets drafted by the Royals. They give him a ton of money, and he's 26 years old now, and he's still in the minor leagues. Like,
yeah,
I never could afford one of his autos. I picked one up a couple years ago for like $30 and was graded, and then so that that was like $20 just to get a card graded nowadays. And so I figured
he's 26 and currently in AAA.
Yep, I was gonna pull that up. Yeah.
I ended up buying a Matt Chapman auto from 2014 Bowman on Sport Lot. Somebody had one listed for $15, and these suckers were selling for about 50 to 60 at the time on eBay. So somebody obviously had one. I wasn't 100% certain it was ever going to show up because we're predisposed now to the whole scamming thing and people canceling orders, and it showed up and it was in good condition. And I mean, I got a steal of a deal. But I would rather overpay for a Matt Chapman auto retroactively because I'm looking at it like, you know what, now he's something, than to go out and buy a bunch of, the only guy that's on the A's that's in this checklist is Nick Allen. And I could probably buy, it's a paper auto. I could probably buy it for $5, $6, $7, right? But let's hypothetically say he was worth $50. I'd rather wait and spend $150. 3 years from now, if Nick Allen makes the team. I mean, look at the A's record of drafting and how many of those first round picks have gotten traded or decided to stop playing baseball and go play football.
Yeah.
I mean, the A's don't have a long history, and I'm not overpaying for the fact that, within 2 years, a dude's going to end up in the New York Yankees or, Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. The other thing too is you look at Kyle Zimmer was a big-time prospect for the Royals, and he kept getting hurt. He's Bradley Zimmer's older brother. And I think he's still now in AAA, but he almost quit baseball. And he was a top pick. He was one of the big prospects for a long time and just never, could get healthy. Danny Holtzen, you remember him from the Mariners? He was a third overall pick. He was awesome. He got injured so bad he had to retire. Mike Zunino, a couple years ago, was the number 2 pick by the Mariners. Just picking on the Mariners. And he was going to be this big thing. I saw him hit a grand slam in Sacramento against the River Cats, and then he got called up, and now he's with the Rays. His cards were on fire, and then he comes up, and he can hit home runs, but he can't do anything else. He strikes out all the time. So, and you have Vlad Guerrero and, Fernando Tatis and Eloy Jimenez coming up, but these are the next wave, and they're on the edge. 2 of them are in the major leagues, and we're waiting for Guerrero to come up. But what happens? I mean, you look at Guerrero, and he kind of looks like an everyday card collector. Got a little pot belly going, and this guy's playing infield. He's going to end up being a DH at some point. He's not going to be a third baseman. Maybe he gets puts at first, but we don't even know what he's going to do. He's never had a major league at bat, and he can crush all the minor league pitching he wants until he gets in the major leagues, and we know he can hit. Who knows? Delman Young, first overall pick by the Rays. Never amounted to anything, and he was highly collectible. Tim Beckham. I mean, you can go on and on about some of these guys, and
I mean, there's a couple organizations that try to thank him for his donation, but that's another story.
It's one of those things, it's prospecting. It's like Gold Rush. Hey, you hit the right spot. Awesome. Congratulations. You're going to roll with it. You might get lucky. But the majority of the time, you're going to come up and you're going to hit rock bottom. So
it's just making it frustrating. All this kind of stuff, this whole year right now, I think is pushing collectors further and further away. Not prospecting and flippers and rippers, and it's pushing the true collectors away that are just really in this hobby to collect their favorite players and their favorite teams.
But what I can say on this is there's a very good opportunity for real collectors to take advantage of these rippers and flippers while they're here. So, the thing is like you watch some movies, all right, and you have this like little town, and then it's all quaint, and all of a sudden the big city folk, usually they're from California, come in and they take over the town. They bring their money and they try to do all these things, and maybe they don't succeed because they don't know how things work in that society, right? They're coming into our world where we know what's going to make or break. We can take advantage of them. Let them spend all the money. Let them open all this product. Let us reap the rewards by picking up. And this is my advice, and I put this in the article about Bowman Chrome or about Bowman Release.
Oh, hi.
If you can't afford the autographs, go out and buy the first Bowman Chrome cards. Buy the colored parallels, buy the refractors, whatever one you fancies you find fancy. You like the blue, you like the orange, the parallel cards, the non-auto ones. Pick those up if you're a guy or somebody you think that's going to be good. Even the paper base, and you're going to get them for cheap, especially the base, the paper base, and the paper and the just the base chrome. You're going to pick up for a steal, and that's going to allow you to later on, if that guy does hit. So you might have spent $2 or $3 on those cards. You turn around, you can sell them for $15 or $20. That profit margin, that percentage is a lot higher than some of these autographs are going to bring you. Now, the dollar amount's not there, but again, your investment was very low. Your risk was very low. And it's one of those things, invest in what you can afford, that area, find it, and take advantage of it. And I think a lot of people are going to miss out on this. And the fact is they're looking at the big giant autographs. Look at the smaller fine. Look at that fine print. Go out and find your way and collect all these and then turn around in a few years. That guy hits and you can sell him. You're golden. And you'll be able to get one of those. You'll be able to go and buy that guy's autograph because you sold 10 or 15 of his Bowman Chrome cards. So that's just my advice to everybody. If that's what you're looking to do, if you want to get into this, is you can definitely take advantage of guys that are spending the big bucks to open the boxes of the cases that, sometimes just leave them on the counter at the LCS.
Yeah, do that.
I watched a guy open and he got skunked real bad. A box of Contenders football this last, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 months ago. Spent $250 to buy a box of Contenders. His best autographs were second round picks. He had 0 first round pick autographs in his box. He just set the cards down and walked out of the store. And I talked to Greg today at the LCS. He's not seen the guy since. And these guys, he's like, yeah, he used to come in and spend a lot of money, and he just never hit anything big. But he's like, he probably spent 10 grand in the last 3 months with me buying stuff and never hit anything worth a damn. And those guys are going to come and go, but we're going to be here. And he's like, yeah. And I talked to one of the guys. He goes, yeah, I picked up all those contenders plus some others somebody had left, and I built a couple sets and I sold them online for $20. I took the autos and put them at 99-cent auctions and sold those for a handful of dollars because Greg just said take them. And so I ended up making almost $100 out of all this stuff these guys left behind last week. It's there. So just find your way. And if you're spending the mortgage money, the rent money, the food money, the babies, the kids' daycare, and you're not putting, you have a kid or two, and you're not putting $25 a check away for them, or even as minimal as that, and you're out buying into these breaks, and it's like, man, you got to maybe really adjust your thought process there a little bit. You're maxing out your credit cards to get into a break, hoping you're going to get a Wander Franco. I feel for you. And
don't turn off. I've argued with a bunch of people. A hobby is something you do for fun. You don't do a hobby to make money. Okay,
it's nice to make a little bit of money to sustain that hobby.
Well, yes, if it's a self-sustainable portion, yes. But if you're looking to
get rich,
once you're starting to put enough money into your bank account as a result, then all of a sudden, when I have to start claiming it on my taxes and the IRS wants to know about it, it's no longer a hobby. If you buy a box and then you sell off the autographs and you pay for your box and you get all your stuff for free, essentially, cool. I'm good with that. But a hobby is not something where you're in it to make money. Once you cross that line, it's now a business. And now, a W-9 and a 1099 and stuff like that might start creeping into your vocabulary. But, sit back and enjoy, and don't try to get beyond your means. I think is kind of what you're saying, Tim, is, if you're in the dollar section of the LCS, you're in the quarter bin and dollar bin, don't go over there and look at that box of Dynasty and say, man, I wonder, because you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, but I like Diamond Kings.
No, and there's nothing wrong with
and you had
your
really
favorite
good luck
product
with Diamond Kings, though, so that's why it's like your product. Like, you love that because you had such a good experience with it.
Sure.
But it's not where you're going, oh God, am I going to be able to eat this week because I bought this box of Diamond Kings?
No, that's just being a responsible
product.
adult.
Yeah,
right.
It's an $80 product. Now, if it was an $800 product, even though you may have hit something in the past, you'd really have to question, is $800 in your monthly budget?
And if it is, awesome.
I think I spent $45 on the box that got me the Ruth.
See?
And that's awesome.
You got to make it up a little bit to the hobby gods.
If Heritage is your product, then stop buying everything. Put away as much money as you can afford to set aside. And there are people that do that with, like Allen and Ginter. They're just Heritage and Ginter are master
Ginter
collectors.
Insane.
Yeah.
Every mini and every back, and it's crazy.
But that's all Ginter guys collect.
A couple smart things that I want to point out that I think we've talked about. So Ben talks about, like, selling the hit out of the box to pay for the boxes. So when I've had a long week at work, and it's Wednesday, and we're off Friday. Our boss gives us a floating holiday, and so he always gives us Good Friday off, the Friday before Easter off, as a holiday. And so I'm excited, but it's been a long week. So I go to the LCS. I get a box at opening day for $20. I pull out a story short print. I look what they're going for online. Put it online. Sold it. I got the rest of the box over here. It's gonna go. This one, I'm just waiting for it to get paid. I just accepted the offer. It paid for my box, plus everything else I got. Monster box and some other singles. So I had a great day. So basically, I got a bunch of stuff from the LCS for free today because I pulled one card and sold it. What I can say is something I did last year was every time I made a hobby-related purchase, I put $1 away. Do that. See how much that comes up to every time. Or if you go to Starbucks or Dutch Brothers or whatever your coffee place is, don't do that. Take coffee from home and put that $5 away each time. Right? That's $20 a week, maybe $25 a week you're spending on coffee. In a month, you have $100 to $125 in your pocket. that could buy a lot of cards. So you can find ways to sneak money away or whatever, or focus your collection. The only boxes I buy anymore are flagship, Series 1, 2, and Update. And that's it. Guys, we need to wrap it up. We're getting almost to 2 hours tonight. It's been fun. Any final thoughts before we head out tonight?
No, not really.
No, I don't think so.
I think we covered pretty much everything.
And I'm glad Tony's Hobby Vault was in all tonight, and then Chris getting in late, but he'll rewatch the show. Remember, we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time here on YouTube, 10 Central. Make sure to subscribe and review our show on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. You can always follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. You can always follow Steph at Junk Wax Twins. Follow me at Big Chef 79. Make sure you check out our new website, aboutthecards.wordpress.com. And someday we'll be fully just aboutthecards.com. Make sure to share your hobby stories and great pulls and send your questions our way. And check out our Sunday spotlight we had with 1 Million Cubs Bo this week. It was awesome. It's the second one we've done. We have one coming up in a few days. We're gonna hop on, and it's a secret, but it's on the 28th, on Sunday the 28th. Be on the lookout for an alert, because we're gonna have our next collector spotlight. It's a big one. One of my favorite people in the hobby is going to be on the show with us. I'm very excited that they agreed to come on with us. So, guys, if not, enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great week in collecting. If you come across anything awesome or you pull a Wander Franco, share it with us. Share your spoils. And have a great night. Talk to you next week.
Yep. See you guys next week.